Okay, so what is mate? Where did it come from? And how can you prepare it yourself? Today I am in Cabo Polonio in Uruguay, and I thought, why not sit down and film a little video on how to prepare mate. Of course, there are many other videos out there, most of them are in Spanish. So if you're just passing through Uruguay or you've just arrived and your Spanish isn't great yet, then here's going to be a quick guide on everything you need to know about Uruguayan mate. Firstly, what is mate? It is a herbal infusion. It is loose leaf tea, essentially. Yerba is the plant, the loose tea leaves that is in it, and then you add hot water and drink it over several hours or maybe even the whole day. But unlike other popular hot beverages like a cup of coffee or even a cup of English tea or matcha, this is not something you prepare a single serving of, sit down and consume. No, you prepare one mate like this and then drink it over several hours, sometimes the whole day, and often shared with other people, especially here in Uruguay. People will drink mate all day, every day, whereas in the neighboring Argentina, people tend to drink it more as a social thing. Uruguayans drink it every single day. Some of them, not all. But that is why it is so important to understand what it is, where it came from, and how to make it yourself. So, like I said, it is a herbal infusion. I would honestly call it a tea, but if you're in Uruguay talking to an Uruguayan, don't call it a tea. Just stick with the word mate and you'll be good. Now, where did mate come from? Uruguayans and Argentinians love to fight over who did mate first, but really, mate came from the Guarani people. These people were native to Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay, and people in all three countries today will drink mate both hot and also with cold water, sometimes with adding extra herbs, calling it tereré, which I believe is more from Paraguay, or even adding orange juice to the mate, which I have never personally tried. I think that's more of an Argentinian thing. And then also in Brazil, they drink mate. So there's so many different forms of this beverage, this infusion around the world today. And personally, in my opinion, I don't think it really matters who did it first. The point is that many different people, many different cultures can enjoy the same beverage either on their own or sharing it with their friends and family. And I don't know, to me, that is even more special. My personal favorite is just plain yerba mate. Sometimes I will add a little bit of sugar or honey. Some people don't like that. I also like to add different flavors every now and then. I have a tereré mix that I got in Iguazu when we went to visit last year, and I just feel like it helps to mix it up if I want a little bit more flavor. But comment below who you think did it first and what version of this infusion you would like to try most. Okay, so to prepare the mate, you are going to need your mate and a bombilla, some hot water in a thermo, and also some cold water or agua tibia, so like room water, room temperature water, and then of course the yerba. What you'll see almost everywhere is this brand, Canarias. The yellow one is the more intense one. They have different colors, different flavors. Some of them that come with like a ginger flavor, jengibre, or menta, mint, but this is kind of the most standard one. It is pretty strong, so I actually quite like this one instead, by La Selva, so like the rainforest. It's supposed to be mata para nerviosos, so like if you get anxious or you don't want to feel quite so like body jittery from the caffeine, this is supposed to be better. This is my first time, my first bag of this, so I'm not sure how much of a difference it makes yet, but so far I like it. But today I'm going to be sharing this mate with a friend of mine who prefers Canarias, so we're going to go ahead and prep with this. Now, the mate cup itself can come in many different shapes, sizes, forms. The one I use most regularly is this one. It's nice and clean, e well, like a clean, simple design, easy to clean. I also like that it comes with this lid because if I spill it, this is full of yerba right now, but it's not going to make a mess. Or my other one that I use regularly is this more traditional one that was from Alejandro. I don't know if it was his grandma's or if his grandma just bought it for him, but this is ceramic on the inside but wrapped in leather on the outside. Looks a little bit more traditional. The ones I personally hate are when they're made out of like a cow's hoof. Not a huge fan of those, but otherwise it's just up to personal preference, what vibe you want, what size you want. These are pretty similar in size, despite this one looking a lot bigger, but the inside is pretty similar. So yeah, I'm gonna go and prep in here today, and let's get started. Okay, once you have added the yerba inside, you want to kind of shake it to the side. I'm going to put the mic down because you want to put a hand over the top and get it on a nice angle. Okay, I don't know if you can really see super great with this angle, but trust me, the yerba is on the diagonal, and once we start adding the water, it'll stay in place a little bit better. So we're actually going to start with a little bit of cold water. This is supposed to make sure that the yerba itself, the leaves, don't burn and become too bitter, I believe. I think, but regardless of the reason, you always start with a little bit of room temperature water. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the bombilla, and if the mountain, of dry yerba is on that side, I'm going to put the bombilla on this side, like this. And now we can go ahead and start adding the hot water. You want to add over to this side, and the goal is to always leave some of the yerba dry. The idea of this diagonal is so that throughout the day, as you keep adding more and more water, eventually you can mix it in a little bit more. But rules of mate is as you're drinking it, you try, especially if someone else passes you their mate, try your best not to grab the bombilla. Don't touch the straw, even if it's instinct to do so. Just hold it like this, take a sip, pass it back. Because it is a really big deal about how quickly you mix it. If you're drinking it yourself at home, it doesn't really matter so much. You can add as much or as little water and touch the bombilla as many times as you like. But if it's someone else's, follow the rules, follow the guidelines, I should say, and just hold it like this and take a sip. Okay, it is a couple days later and I am back home in 𝒇𝒊𝒍𝒎𝒅, so if you hear noises, it's my cats around me. But I wanted to finish off this video by going through a couple of important vocabulary that you'll need to know if you want to go out and purchase all the things to make mate yourself, plus a little bit of info on how to clean it and just some final tips that you should know about mate. So like I said, the beverage itself is called mate, but also the cup is considered a mate, and I've even heard that each sip is like each serving of water in the mate is called a mate. So yeah, it can get a little confusing vocabulary wise. The tea itself, the leaves inside, is called yerba. This is called la bombilla, and I've had Uruguayans ask me before like what you would call this in English, and the truth is there isn't really a translation. You just call it the bombilla, because while it does function as a straw, its shape is very unique. They do have more modern ones that are shaped differently now that don't have quite such a spoon shape at the bottom, but this is my preferred shape, and it's more traditional, and I just think it is the most pleasurable way to drink it. You can most easily drink the most liquid up through it, and also at the same time the least amount of yerba, because sometimes when the holes at the bottom are too large, you end up choking on the little bits of the yerba, which is not such a pleasant experience. But yeah, so mate, yerba, bombilla, and then the termo is the thermos.
Something else you can get as a added bonus is what they call a matero, which is like a holder for your mate. Let me see if I could do this one-handed. So you would put the mate on one side and then the thermo on the other and carry it around like this all day if you didn't want to just do the classic Uruguay thing of putting the thermo under your arm and holding the mate in the other. This is really handy if you're going in the car. You can just like, you know, as like a little travel kit. You can either get them in madera, so in wood, or made out of leather, cuero. So if you're going to buy them, that's what you would ask for, a matero. I got this at the local feria in 𝒇𝒊𝒍𝒎𝒅, but you can get them most places where you can get a mate will also sell all the other bits and pieces, so the bombilla, the thermo, the matero, if you want it, all at the same place. And finally, something that I didn't know until far too late, how to go about cleaning it. The yerba itself, you can just scoop out at the end of the day, either into the bin, or if you have a compost bin, that's even better. I've seen people just tip them out into the garden outside, onto a tree or whatever, because it is organic material and it will break down. The bombilla, however, that you have to be a little bit more careful on how to clean it, because with such a thin opening, you just want to be careful about cleaning all of the gunk that could end up inside out so that it stays clean and hygienic. But pretty much anywhere that sells the bombilla will also sell what they call a limpia bombilla. It's just a tiny little pipe cleaner, and this goes straight in the top. Some bombillas you can unscrew the base of and then really clean out the whole thing, but otherwise this gets in and out of all the little nooks and crannies. And the bombilla, to really get any other buildup out, you can just put it in the sink with bicarbonate soda and water, and it will just like dissolve anything else, any of the yerba that could accidentally get stuck inside. It will clean that all out nice and good. So that brings us to the end of my video all about mate. If you have any more questions, please comment down below. This is definitely not something I drink every single day, but it is a part of Uruguayan culture that I love. I love the tradition of it. I love the custom of drinking it over the whole day, and I feel like even if I go back to Australia for, you know, the rest of my life, I probably will continue to drink mate maybe at least once a week, just because I love the cultural aspect of it, and it is a flavor that I now really enjoy. There is a trend going around, or has been for quite a while, of Uruguayans and Argentinians recording foreigners trying mate for the first time and uploading it to social media. So if you see those videos, don't panic. It's just a funny bit. Like, the mate itself is a little bit bitter depending on which flavor you get and how much, if any, sweetener you add to it. Most people won't add sweetener, so it is a bitter taste at first. I tend to describe it to foreigners who've never had it before as planty. Like, it's very earthy, somewhat grass-like, which sounds worse than it is, but I feel like having lower expectations helps you to enjoy it the first time, because then when you take a sip, you're like, oh, it's not as bad as I thought. Whereas if you go into it thinking it's going to be a sweet or creamy beverage, then you are going to be shocked, and probably in a negative way. But if you're a fan of green tea, or even more so if you drink matcha, you probably won't find the taste too strange or too bitter at all. You'll be like, oh, it's, you know, similar to that but different. So yeah, I would love to know in the comments below if you've ever tried mate, and if not, are you now planning on making it yourself after watching this video? I didn't have anyone to teach me what mate was, where it came from, or how to prepare it myself, because my husband, he's not a mate drinker. His abuela is, but she speaks not a word of English, and when I first got here, I hardly spoke much Spanish, so I learned myself through watching YouTube videos, and that's why I wanted to make this video, to help out other people coming to Uruguay so they too can enjoy such an important part of Uruguayan culture. So gracias por ver y nos vemos en el próximo. But enough talking from me. I am going to go edit and upload this, so please give this a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to know more about life here in Uruguay as a foreigner, and I will see you very soon with a brand new video. Ciao!